वर्णिवेशरमणीयदर्शनं मन्दहासरुचिरादनाम्बुजं पूजितं सुरनरोत्तमैर्मुदा धर्मनन्दनमहं विचिन्तये। प्रभु तव मूर्ति विनोदकारी, पलपन विसरे नहीं जो विसारी। जुगल चरण सोड़ चिन्ह जेह, नजर समीपे रहो यमारी एह। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः, गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः, तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। बोलो श्री घनश्याम महाराजनी जय, श्री हरि कृष्ण महाराजनी जय, श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवाननी जय, श्री ठाकुर जी महाराजनी जय, श्री सद्गुरुदेवनी जय। Supreme Almighty, our beloved Thakur Ji Maharaj, Piuda Sri Ghansyam Maharaj, all the Sadguru Santos from our divine Muktanandiya Parampara, from Muktanand Swami to our Pujya Dada Guruji, our Pathmaker to Liberation Pujya Path Guruji, and all of you devotees, my humble Jai Swaminarayan. Today, Yuva Sabha course, week 5. Today's topic is Ekantik Dharma. Many times we have listened Ekantik word in our satsang. But what it does exactly mean, and what if we have acquired the qualities of Ekantik, and what if we have acquired all of those virtues, meaning Dharma, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. That is called Ekantik Dharma. And after attaining all those things, what we attain in our life, in our spiritual life, that is called Ekantik Dharma. And first and foremost, we all know about our rarity of our human birth. Because after getting many different spaces, meaning life in different spaces, we many times happen in our previous lives, animals, birds, reptiles, insects, trees, herbs. In this way, we have taken many different births in different spaces. But after that, it's like a cycle. One death, after that another birth. Birth, death, birth, death. In this way, the cycle continues. Bhagwan gives us this human birth only and only to break this cycle of birth and death. And only human can have the accessibility to break down this cycle of birth and death. Why? Because only human can perform worshipping of God, only human can do the bhajan, smaran, meaning whatever related to God, only the human being can do that. Animals, however, even though they wish to come into the mandir, if the cows, we worship the cows as a Hindu, but still cow, even though it desire to come inside the mandir, but no one can allow it to come inside the mandir. So in this birth of human, Bhagwan has given a unique chance to break down this cycle of birth and death and attain the ultimate liberation, and will go to divine Parafakshardha. That is called the final or ultimate liberation. Now let me see what is our today's course. Let me see in the map, table of contents. First and foremost, the Kalyan Kanika, then Vachanamrut Loya 6, then Vachanamrut Garuda first 60, Garuda and the 13, then Charitra 1 and Charitra 2. This is what our course map. But as we are talking regarding the rarity of human birth, after getting this human birth, what is difficult to attain? That is called the satsang. Because after attaining human birth, we have seen many different types of people. Even we at present time, even though you are sitting in your home, but even outside from your house, there are many different people. Even in your neighborhood or in your community, many different types of people living, but they do not understand anything regarding Bhagwan. They do not worship Bhagwan. They do not even try to understand what is the science of birth and death. What is karma, what is Bhagwan, what is devotion. They do not understand anything this. Moreover, they do not follow the code and conducts of any of the scriptures. And because of that, they are eating meat, they are drinking alcoholic beverages, they are living their life like the animals, nothing more than that. The only difference from the animals and such kind of people, like the animal cannot have to do work for earning their meal. On the other side, these kind of people, those who are not engaged in any spiritual activities, any spiritual path to God, those kind of people, they are similar to animals, but in addition to the animals, they have to work day and night for earning their bread. This is what the basic difference. Otherwise, they are none other than the animals. On the other hand, we as a devotee of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, we as a devotee, we as a human being, we have attained this human birth, and after that we are given a chance to enter this satsang. Bhagwan and Puja Guruji, they have combinedly shown a divine mercy upon us, and because of that, we are today in the satsang. We can at least understand what is satsang is, what the different ekantik dharma, or we can say dharma, bhakti, jnana, vairagya, or the atma buddhi, mahima, many different things of the satsang, we at least can understand a little bit. This is all because of their mercy, their grace upon us. And after attaining the satsang, still there is something difficult to attain, and that is called ekantik. So now we are in this state of attaining satsang. We have already attained the satsang, but after attaining the satsang, there is one thing remain in our life, and that is to get ekantik panu, meaning get this sthiti, or we can say the position of ekantik. So let me see what Puja Guruji says regarding this ekantik dharma in Kalyan Kanika. Here Puja Guruji says in 326 Vat from the first Kanika, Swaminarayan Hare, Puja Guruji says, an ekantik devotee of God is one who follows the vows and rules of Swaminarayan sect, worships only Supreme Lord Swaminarayan, believes that just like Maharaj resides in Akshardham, same way Maharaj forever present in his heart. So this is what Puja Guruji says. First, Puja Guruji says ekantik devotee of God is one who follows the vows and rules of Swaminarayan sect. We know about the rules of our sampradaya. We know very well about the code and conducts, what is prescribed in the Sikshapatri. Also some Agnyas, from the Vachanamruts. That is called Dharma. After that, believes that just like Maharaj resides in Akshardham, same way Maharaj forever present in his heart. So what is in Akshardham, the same thing also happen here in Ekantik Satpuru's heart, as well as everyone's heart. But when one can experience that form of bhagwan which is in one's heart, only and only when one take refuge under the Ekantik Satpurus. When Ekantik Satpurus explain him, just as it is stated in the Vachanamrut, Hire Karine Hirovinda, meaning the diamond can be cut only by the diamond. In the same way, only Satpurus can give us that experience, like what is within our heart. God is reside in everyone's heart, but not everyone can experience that form of God. Everyone come to the mandir, everyone come for darshan of Maharaj, but still not everyone get the same experience while doing the same form of bhagwan, meaning while doing darshan of the same murti, we cannot get the same experience. The experience determines our experience has like many different levels, and the reason for that is the different levels of everyone's different level of spirituality. What Puja Guruji can get while doing darshan, we cannot get this. What we can get while doing darshan of Ghanshyamprakashdasji Maharaj or Thakurji Maharaj, the other devotees, meaning those who are not in Loyadham Parivar, they are not getting the same amount of experience. Not only that, but those who comes only for the first time, those who come only a while, they cannot get the same amount of experience what the other got from the same murti. So this is what difference between everyone's spirituality, and we want to increase our level of spirituality, but how? Not merely performing any penance, not merely performing like dharana parna or chandrayana like vrats. We cannot get those spirituality by donating money too much. We cannot get the spirituality like merely performing the service, meaning sevas. No. We can, all those different ways, they are supporting us to get the spirituality, but the main source of spirituality, that is the Ekantik Satpurus. If we get the refuge under the Ekantik Satpurus, then if we listen, if we follow what he says, if we believed what he says as the ultimate truth, then and then we can get some spirituality in our life. It is obviously like what is today in our life, meaning spirituality, or we can say the satsang, that everything can only and only by his grace. Because we are in this satsang, we are belongs to him, meaning we are considered as a disciple of Puja Guruji. So merely by considering our own self as disciple, we got all these things, meaning satsang, devotion, some virtues, some like satsang related inclination. In this way we have attained all these things. But now we want to attain Ekantik Panu. We want to feel Bhagwan while alive. So that can be also possible only and only by taking his refuge, taking his asro, or we can say surrender our everything to him. Then and then we can get those things. Now, next in Vachanamrut, next slide please. Yes. One that takes on dharma, jnana, bhakti and vairagya is Ekantik. We want to become Ekantik. Why? Because that is the highest, or we can say the ultimate challenge after getting the satsang. And we are very brave to accept any kind of challenge. This is challenge for us. Now, first and foremost, what is Ekantikpana, or what is Ekantik? Bhagwan Swaminarayan himself says in the 6th Vachanamrut of Loya, Swaminarayan Hare, for a person to become Ekantik is extremely difficult. Here Bhagwan himself says it is extremely difficult. It's not just difficult, but it's extremely difficult. Why? Because everyone try by themselves to attain Ekantik, but no one can get Ekantikpana by one's own effort. That is why it is extremely difficult. Otherwise, if one follows the easiest path, which is shown by the Vachanamrut itself, meaning by cultivating the divine virtues in one's life, only from the Satpurus, then and then one can get the Ekantikpana. So what is this state of being Ekantik? Well, it is to do the bhakti of God along with dharma, jnana and vairagya. This is the state of being Ekantik, meaning these 4 virtues. First, dharma, second, jnana, third one is vairagya, and fourth one is bhakti along with all these 3 things and the glory of God. Meaning dharma, bhakti, jnana and vairagya. Combine, if all these 4 things combine in one person, that is called Ekantik. So we want to become Ekantik. So it's definitely we have to understand what is dharma, we have to understand what is bhakti, what is jnana, what is vairagya, and how they work in our spiritual life. If we try to understand those things, then we try to imbibe those virtues in our life. And if we try to imbibe those virtues in our life by observing our effort, by observing our inclination, our eagerness to attain those virtues, Bhagwan and Ekantik Satpurus, they become happy. And if they become happy, then and then they show their mercy upon us. And because of their mercy, we can get those virtues. Otherwise, there is no any other easiest way to attain all those virtues. So let me take a glance what is dharma in next slide. Yes, dharma, our protecting gear. We know about the dharma. There are different kinds of definitions in different scriptures. Dharma, one can say duty. Yes, that's also true. Dharma meaning to follow the code of conducts. Yes, that's also true. All the definition from the scriptures, everything is true. But to understand the terminology of dharma, we have to take an example of protecting gear. If you are on special kind of job and there you are on high risk, you have to wear your protecting gears. If you do not have those gears, you definitely will be harmed. So definitely at that time, you yourself, if the protecting gears was not given or not provided by the company, you purchase by your own expense and you use those protecting gears. Why? Because you want to save yourself. You want to save yourself. You want to remain alive, and that's why you want to wear all those protecting gears. But in spirituality, dharma meaning like the scriptures like Siksapatri and the Vachanamruts, or the words of the Ekantik Satpurus. This says, you should do this, you should not do this. Meaning do's and don'ts. This is what we can say the Dharma. But what happened in spirituality? Just as the same person who wants protecting gears on the job, the same person cannot wear the protecting gear for protecting one's soul. They are on the job, they are using the protecting gears only to protect one's body. And in spirituality, in satsang, when you use these protecting gears in the form of dharma, meaning do's and don'ts, then you are protecting your soul. This is not only for this world. This is also support you to get the happiness, the ultimate happiness, or we can say the divine happiness in the upper of Akshardham. But we do not care for this. That's why here it is 3 points written here. The first one is the codes of conducts. Second, 5 religious vows. And third one is Vachanamrut Agnyas. Many different Vachanamruts. Sriji Maharaj himself depicted like, you should do this, my devotees should do this, and my devotees should never do this. In this way, Bhagwan himself explains us, you should do this and you should not do this. In Hinduism, if we consider, or if we calculate, or if we studied all the other different scriptures, then there is no one but only Bhagwan Swaminarayan who has given us this clear-cut information regarding do's and don'ts. Otherwise, everything written in the scriptures, but you have to find it out from each chapter, from each page. On the other hand, Bhagwan Swaminarayan has given its like easiest thing in the form of Siksapatri. Moreover, Bhagwan had given another way of his codes of conducts. Like if you cannot follow the rules of the Siksapatri or Vachanamrut, then the easiest way, shown in the Vachanamrut, you have to go to the Satpurus. If Satpurus shows you the way, you have to follow that way. Then you can also consider as you have followed the rules of the Siksapatri and the Vachanamrut. Why? Because Bhagwan himself resides in the heart of the Satpurus forever. And that's why what he speaks, not any human being is speaking. Bhagwan himself is speaking through him. So this is what to wear protecting gear on the, we can say, just consider you yourself in right now in Ukraine, and the Russian forces, they are soaring like bombs and missiles on different areas. So what would you do that? You definitely first find it out from anywhere, protecting gears in the form of bulletproof jackets or something like that. You even find it out your shelter underneath the great building or something like that, so that you can protect yourself. In the same way, the outside of the satsang, there is like extremely like bombing and missile attacking and like chemical weapons, everything outside from the satsang in the form of kusang. So if we want to remain safe, we have to follow codes of conducts, what is prescribed for us by Maharaj himself. Otherwise, kusang will destroy us. We physically remain in the satsang, but still from within we are empty if we do not follow dharma. So we have to follow the dharma. Second, bhakti. Bhakti, our daily food. Or we can say, in other terminology, we can say the bhakti is like different kinds of adhesive. Just as we know about the nine types of bhaktis in Hinduism: Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Pad Sevan, Archan, Vandan, Sakhya, Dasatva, Atmanivedanam. In this way, there is nine different types of bhaktis. So we can say all these 9 different ways or all these different foods we have to take every day. Otherwise, anyone who had performed a waterless fast, he understood what is the pain of remain hungry. Otherwise, one who gets every day their meal, then they cannot understand what is the effect of remain hungry. But the main thing is to take food daily, to remain healthy and happy, to remain like not only healthy but get total nutrition what you need every day. So for that you have to eat some food. So bhakti is like food. So either from these 9 different types, you have to take at least 3 to 4 different meals in the form of Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, or you can say Archan, Vandan, Dasatva, or Pad Sevan, whatever you like, according to your inclination. You have to eat your food. Just as those who born here in these Western countries, they definitely likes pizza, pasta, and some Mexican foods. In this way, they like here's food. On the other hand, some people who born in India, they like dal bhat, khichdi, rotli shak, everything in this way. But they do not remain hungry. Whether one gets pizza, they eat the pizza. Sometimes they do not get the pizza and instead of that they get some Indian food, then they also eat the food. But no one remain hungry. In the same way, we do not like all 9 types of bhakti, but according to Bhagwan's grace, we have some inclination, like we at least like 3 or 4 different foods from this, meaning Shravan Bhakti, Kirtan Bhakti, Smaran Bhakti, Pad Sevan Bhakti, Archan Bhakti, Vandan Bhakti, whatever we like, we have to eat this food. Why? Because by performing these different kinds of bhakti, devotion, we get some strength to live in this satsang. Without bhakti, we cannot live in this satsang. Just as without taking food, you do not live in this satsang. Without taking food, you do not live in this body for more days. After a month or 2, you definitely become weak, and finally you get your death. In the same way, if we do not perform any kinds of bhakti every day, then we will not be able to live in this satsang. Gradually our satsang decreases day by day. We become weak and weak day after day. And finally, one day will come and we will die from this satsang. So this is meaning bhakti for getting our daily nutritious need. If we want to get this thing, we have to take a bhakti. Next, Gnan. Gnan meaning knowledge. Knowledge regarding what? When we listen this word Gnan, we understand it's very difficult because we have to open the books, and we know in our satsang there is like many different books. and to get knowledge, to get Gnan, we have to read all those books. Yes, that is true, but it is not considered a perfect Gnan. Perfect Gnan, meaning knowledge, is regarding yourself. Who you are, who I am. We have to ask this question every day to our own self, who I am. We are not what we consider our own self. We consider this body our own self, but that is not true. But we cannot differentiate. We do not get the difference between our soul and body. That is the problem. And those things cannot be attained merely by reading the books. That can also be attained by the association of the Ekantik Satpurus. But let me make this hard thing very easy. First, who am I? We should ask our own self. Then different answer come from inside. You are a human being. Yes, if you are a human being, Bhagwan has created grains, flowers, vegetables, fruits for you, not the meat. So if you are a human being, do not eat meat. Bhagwan has created everything for all the different kinds of species. In the same way, Bhagwan has created different things for you. But as a human being, it is your own responsibility to get liberation, to break the cycle of birth and death. That is your duty, that is your responsibility. So to fulfill your responsibility and become a perfect human being. Meaning, what is not suitable to you as a human, you should not do that. To kill anyone, that is not suitable to human being. That's only for the wild animals, not for human beings. To eat meat, that's also for the animals, not for the human. In this way, to perform devotion, that's for human, not for any other animals. To sing kirtans, that's for human being, not for the other species. In this way, what is suitable to you, you should do that. Next, if again you ask yourself, who am I? Then answer comes from within. You are a devotee of God. Oh, yeah, really? You are a devotee, then you have to also no alcoholic drinks and other things, but you have to perform devotion to Bhagwan as a devotee. As you are consider yourself as a devotee, then you have to follow each and every rules given by Bhagwan himself. You have to perform any one of the devotion from the 9 types of bhakti. You have to follow each rules. You have to read the scriptures, you have to listen the katha. Again, when you ask yourself, who am I? Again, the answer comes from within. You are a Loyadham Parivar devotee. You are not an ordinary devotee. You are a Loyadham Parivar member. So, as a Loyadham Parivar member, what is your duty? To follow strictly and firmly Puja Guruji's Agnya is the duty of Loyadham Parivar Bhagat. Just as Puja Guruji's inclination is like not to eat outside food or not to engage in any such kind of activities which is not suitable to Loyadham Parivar Bhagat. So if we follow such kind of agnyas and such kind of things, then we are considered as a Loyadham Parivar Bhagat. Again, when we ask our own self, who am I? then again answer comes from within. I am Muktanandi. So if you are Muktanandi, then what is your duty? Das na das. Meaning to become extremely humble. Not only in front of Bhagwan, not only in front of Puja Guruji, not only in front of Santos, but also to each and every devotees, those who are belongs to Loyadham Parivar and Muktanandiya Parampara. It's only because our Adi Gurudev Muktanand Swami, he lived his whole life, even though he is the Supreme Sant, still he lived his life as Das na Das. So it is our duty to follow his way, the path on which he himself walked. It is our duty to walk on that path. So the only thing to attain Jnana, that is ask our own self, who am I? We do not need to become serious to attain Jnana I have to read many different scriptures, I have to memorize many different verses, and I have to memorize many kirtans and kadis. No doubt we have to do that, but that is not called perfect Jnana. That is only knowledge, and Jnana is totally different thing. Jnana comes from within, merely by the grace of Satpurus, not by one's own self. So we have understood dharma, bhakti and jnana. Now let we see what is vairagya. Vairagya meaning detachment from the world. We know from the Siksapatri. So to get vairagya, somebody maybe understand this term vairagya meaning to become a sadhu. No, that is not perfect vairagya. Vairagya, no doubt you need to vairagya more than the others to become a sadhu, but as a devotee you still need to get some kind of vairagya, meaning detachment from the world. Just as in our case, meaning in sadhu's case, we have renounced everything. So here example is given 49:51 ratio. Puja Guruji many times says in his katha, if you want to remain attached with Bhagwan, you have to remain attached with the sadhu, to the Satpurus. And by attaching yourself to the Satpurus, you definitely would remain attached with Bhagwan. But for remain attached forever, you have to maintain 51% affection only and only for Bhagwan and Ekantik Satpurus. And in 49% of affection, you can engage in worldly life, your family life, your social life, for your business and jobs. But here, affection for the world or the relatives, that definitely, or we can say must be remain 49%, not more than that. If it would be less than 49, that's good. But affection for Maharaj and Satpurus, that must be remain 51% or more than that. Then and then one can remain attached firmly with Ekantik Satpurus and Maharaj. Otherwise, if it's remain 50-50, then you will not get the perfect benefit of the vairagya. So 1% more than the worldly or relatives affection. So this is the easiest way to get vairagya. If we forever keep this 49:51 ratio in our mind, then we always remain alert. If we have a new car, then at the same time, if this ratio in our mind, then it give us the notification, be alert. You have purchased a new car, but you have to keep affection for Bhagwan and Satpurus, not for this car. If you have purchased a new house, the same way, if this ratio 49:51 in your mind, then it send you immediately notification, be alert. You have purchased a new house, but you have to remain alert, because 51% affection must be for Bhagwan and Satpurus, not for this house. This is temporary. After your death, this house would not be with you. Only Bhagwan and Satpurus with you. So in this way, we have to explain our own self. We have to give some direction by this 49:51 ratio. Meaning this 49:51 ratio is like a motivation for our daily life, for getting vairagya. Maharaj and Satpurus never deny us to enjoy the worldly life, but only keeping 51 or more than 51% affection for Bhagwan and Satpurus, you can live your life. So we have seen dharma, bhakti, jnana and vairagya. And if all these four virtues come into our life, if we acquire all those virtues, then it is said we have attained ekantikpanu. But now we have only seen what is dharma, what is bhakti, what is jnana and what is vairagya. But how we can attain all these four things in our life? That is the question. But whenever question arises, we have to go to the Vachanamrut. Maharaj has given all the answers for our each question. And Maharaj has given us the answer in the Vachanamrut, Garuda first 60. Swaminarayan Hare, Swaminarayan Hare. Such ekantik dharma can only be attained by following the commands of a Purus who is free of worldly desires and who has attained the state of God realization. Therefore, one can attain ekantik dharma only from someone who has already attained the state of ekantik dharma. Who is ekantik? The Satpurus is ekantik. And that's why we say ekantik Satpurus. So, it's definitely, if you do not have money yourself, if you do not have $100 million with you, then how can you can give it to me? If you do not have, you cannot give me. In the same way, if I want to attain something, I do not want those things from beggar. I have to go to the bank or someone who has those amount. In the same way, if we want to attain ekantik dharma, then we have to approach only and only one who has already acquired all those qualities, or we can say one who is a grantor for all these virtues. Just as whenever we need some money, we want to purchase a car, but we do not have enough money, so we have to take a loan for that. If we want to study, want to do our master, and if you do not have enough money to pay the fees, you have to take loans. Who gives you the loans? The banks. In the same way, Satpurus is like a bank of God. If we want to attain this state, meaning we do not have these qualities, and we want to become ekantik. So we have to approach the Satpurus. If Satpurus approved our loan, then and then we can get those things. No doubt, you, with the help of the banks, you have purchased a house, but still you do not free from the bondage, because by taking a loan from the bank, you have to pay mortgage. In the same way, after requesting to Satpurus, you have to follow his agnyas. What he says, you have to follow. Because you have taken his refuge, you want to get something from him. So you have to follow his agnyas. If you follow him, then you will definitely get all those virtues of dharma, bhakti, jnana and vairagya. And then you become ekantik. And that is why here Sriji Maharaj himself says, Maharaj had repeated these things in this Vachanamrut. Maharaj says such ekantik dharma can only be attained by following the commands of a Purus who is free of worldly desires and who has attained the state of God realization. This first one. Again, Sriji Maharaj himself says the same thing in the same Vachanamrut. Therefore, one can attain ekantik dharma only from someone who has already attained the state of ekantik dharma. Why he had repeated this thing? Because there is no any other way to get ekantik dharma. It is also stated in the Dharmamrut, which is the part, or we can say the portion of the Satsangi Jivan. The same thing. When ekantik Satpurus live on this earth, then at that time, only and only because of that Satpurus, ekantik dharma remain, spread. But when the ekantik Satpurus disappear from this earth, or particular area, or particular places, for forever, then the ekantik dharma, meaning dharma, bhakti, jnana and vairagya, would not remain there. Gradually diminishes and finally removed from those places. Meaning wherever this ekantik Satpurus, the ekantik dharma only stay there. Nowhere any places or any mandir or not nowhere. Why? Because ekantik dharma, just as if you want to drink water, you have to use a cup. But without cup, how can you hold the water? For how much time or for how much water you can hold into your palm? It's not the same amount what is in a cup of glass. So in the same way, no one can hold this ekantik dharma by oneself. One must need a cup, and Satpurus is like a cup. And this is a magic cup. Just as simple, like in this worldly cup, if you drink the water, the cup remain empty. But ekantik Satpurus is like a magic. He has a direct connection with God. So ekantik Satpurus gives the virtues to the thousands, or we can say millions, but still ekantik Satpurus remain ekantik. That is the magic thing. So Maharaj has given us the key to unlock the door to get the eternal happiness of getting ekantik dharma. Meaning one can easily attain ekantik dharma by someone who has already attained the state of ekantik dharma. We are fortunate. We have attained ekantik Satpurus in the form of Puja Guruji. So for us it is very easy to attain ekantik dharma in our life. But as earlier I have mentioned, just as you are taking a loan from the bank, you have to pay mortgage. In the same way, if you want to ekantik dharma from ekantik Satpurus like Puja Guruji, we have to follow his each and every commands. Because just as you are taking loan from the banks, you are following all the conditions of the bank. In the same way, we have to follow each and every agnyas given by Puja Guruji. Next, in Yuva course, we have a different, like, two charitras. First one is charitra of Jinabai. Jinabai was also ekantik bhakt of Sriji Maharaj. We have many times listened about Jinabai and many times read from the scriptures, as well as you can also read the charitra of Jinabai from Yuva course. And also second charitra is of Ramji Patel of Sarsod. Ramji Patel was also, he was not previously a devotee of God, but due to his illness, this is written in the Bhakta Chintamani, due to his unknown and unrecognized illness, he was like getting miseries, and his pain was like unbearable, and he had used many different ways to get rid of this pain, but he remained as, meaning his health gradually decreases. He did not remain healthy. And finally, when Swaminarayan Santo arrived in his village, and when he got a darshan of Santo, he bowed down to the Santo, and he literally like bind his both of hands to the Santo's feet, and he begged while crying, "Please give me something so that I can be relieved from this pain. Please do something. Please pray to Bhagwan on behalf of me." Then Santo took pity upon Ramji Patel and talked to him regarding Bhagwan Swaminarayan, and finally Santo gave him Panchvartman, meaning, and Kanthi. You know what is Panchvartman and other things. So accept him as a devotee of Bhagwan, and Santo gave him one niyam to chant as much as he could, like Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. So from that day, Ramji Patel started to chant Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan as much as he could. And finally, at the time of his death, meaning while chanting Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, he automatically relieved from his pain. So as he relieved from the pain, he understood this is a magic thing. This is more beneficial than any other things in this world. So he constantly chanted Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. Even while sleeping, his mouth, his throat, his lip sync is continuing Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. Even the voice could not come out, still his throat and lip sync continue. And finally, after a short period of time, when his life is over, Maharaj himself come in divine form. And Maharaj not only came himself, but also along with those two saints and like many, like thousands of devotees and santos. And finally Maharaj took his soul out of his body and set him into his divine plane, and Maharaj went to Akshardham. In this way, Ramji Patel of Sarsod was the village, he got liberation merely by chanting Bhagwan's holy name, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. And we know this is Swaminarayan Mahamantra verse given to us by Puja Guruji. So, by getting motivation from the story of Ramji Patel, we should also chant Swaminarayan Mahamantra as much as we can. By saying this, our Yuva course is completed. Yuva course 5 is complete here, and we pray to our Maharaj, our Sadgurus from Muktanandi Parampara, from Muktanand Swami to Pujya Dada Guruji, also to our Ekantik Satpurus Pujya Guruji, who is only person who can give us the Ekantik Dharma. So let we pray to Maharaj, Sadgurus and Pujya Guruji. Please grant us all those virtues of Dharma, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya, and please make us Ekantik Sant and Ekantik Hari Bhagat. In this way, by praying to Pujya Guruji as well, along with Maharaj and our Muktanandi Parampara Sadguru, let we also pray to our present divine Santo and Bhakto of Loyadham Parivar. They are also supporting us to getting this Ekantik Dharma in our life. By saying this, my humble Jai Swaminarayan. Sri Patim Sri Dharam Sarvadeveshwaram Bhakti Dharmatmajam Vasudevam Harim Madhavam Keshavam Kamadam Karanam Swaminarayanam Neelakantham Bhaje. Sri Ghanshyamprakashdasji Jai.